Hi there, VC. Steve Whitty here. Has been a few weeks since the last video. Apologies for that. Been busy. um, so I've got opportunity today to do sort of catch up on my July finds. I plan to do two videos on this. One is going to be the finds, and then next one's going to be sort of like these from the cheap bins, sort of split it up because I did do quite well last month. Hope everyone's well. I'm good. On a real positive front, I can do this now. For the first time in 4 months, I can close both eyes, so it's looking good. It hasn't got full mobility eye back for blinking, but feels a whole lot better. Feels a lot more positive. Anyhow, enough about what I've been up to and how I'm feeling. Let's show some records. It's not been July wasn't a bad month, as I mentioned, and these are sort of like the sort of premium finds, so it's a mixed bag of everything. So first up is Beastie Boys, Ill Communication. Not much you could say about this really. It came out in '87. It caused such a big hoo-ha. I mean, over in the UK, I don't know about the States, everyone was ripping the front badges off of Volkswagens because that's what the Beastie Boys were wearing. But musically, it was very loud and snotty. And the funk it thought it at the time when you heard this, that's how the Beastie Boys would evolve. Probably more as people more than anything. They grew up on the subsequent albums, things like Paul's Boutique and the like. But this is pleased to have this in my collection. I forgot until I heard it again how much I enjoyed listening to that. Around the same period of time, this came out. This is Kiss Crazy Nights, 87. This is probably, in my view, Kiss's probably most successful album in their late 80s, early 90s, before they put the makeup back on. Crazy Nights was a top 5 single in the UK. It was their biggest hit single. I saw them on this tour. It's the only time I saw Kiss. I was on the tour. I played the NEC. Yeah, it was good. It was good entertainments. Some good songs on here. Hell or High Water. Reason to Live, which sort of sounded a bit too much like Foreigners' I Want to Know What Love Is. But it wasn't a bad album all the same. Again, it's one that it's come back into my life, and I actually enjoyed listening to it. Now, the next album is Fairport's Conventions, what we did on our holidays. I have to get that right. Ironically, this is the weekend of the Croffady Festival, which is the annual festival organised by Fairport Convention. This is a reissue that came out last month. Originals of this are really expensive. You're talking almost 3 figures because it didn't sell very well. It's on the Iron Pink label, which is highly sought after. And likewise, reissues are very hard to get hold of. So when this popped up, this is going to get reissued, I pre-ordered it, and yeah, loved the album. Sandy Denny's first album with the band, so Fothering Gay, which opens the album, which she would form, the band she'd form after leaving Fairport for the first time. I suppose the song everyone knows is Meet on the Ledge, which closes, they play it at the end of Croffady. It's a popular song, I think, played at funerals and the like. It's sort of like the call together that one day we'll come back and we'll meet again. It's an absolute wonderful album. Pleased to have it. I think they're reissuing all the Fairport albums. I know the debut album came out as well. I've got a Polydor reissue mid-price reissue of that, and I feel no need to have one in the original sleeve. So there we go. Next up, now sometimes it's worth paying attention to Amazon. I do occasionally look at my wish list and look at the prices and then see what happens. And if something comes up at a ridiculously good price, then I'll pull the trigger on it. And in one case was White Chalk by PJ Harvey. It came up at about 11 quid. Maybe Amazon have got quite a few copies left. I don't know. That's usually how it works. This I think came out 2007. There's nothing you can say about PJ Harvey. I think she's one of the more innovative artists around. She's got a new album which I love. I haven't brought it yet, but I have listened to it. And I slowly built up the vinyl reissues of PJ Harvey, and yeah, she's one of those artists that's worth checking out. You don't get many artists like her, and it's worth, I think it's a really good album. Not her best, but I think. But then again, there's no such thing as a duff PJ Harvey album. There we go. Keep the throat lubricated. Next, in the Dunes finds, I showed Bachman Turner Overdrive live in Japan, and that's sort of made me want to explore more. I've got Not Fragile, which is I think the album most people have because of it. You ain't seen nothing yet, but in the shop, the debut album is available. So Bachman Turner Overdrive. So it is what it is. It's just meat and potatoes rock, but it's very good rock. There's the band at the back there. So Give Me Your Money Please, Hold Back the Water Blue Collar. Yeah, in the event, that title just sums up the music. It's very blue collar music. Really good hard rocking record. And also on top of that, I got Four Wheel Drive, which was the album that followed Not Fragile. So probably not as good as the debut or Not Fragile. In a way, they might have been trying to do more of the same to try and keep the hits going. Apologies for the glare there. I've got the light on because it's absolutely dark out there. It is 8 o'clock in the morning, but it's been raining all night. So there we go. The back, really good album. Four Wheel Drive. It's not. As I say, it's not as good as Not Fragile, the debut album, but it's still good all the same. Another reissue I've brought. This is John Martyn's The Tumbler. I think this might have been his second album. Now, the reason I've brought this reissue is primarily it's an album I've never seen in the wild. And I imagine if I did, it'd be ridiculously expensive. This, as I said, this is his second. This is a sort of a mono repress. It came out a couple of weeks ago. And again, John, like the Fairport Convention, John Martyn's having a few albums, his early albums reissued. It's worth seeking out. It's fair to say this is probably his folkiest album. Never heard it until I brought this, and I said, yeah, this is probably more an album that's sort of inspired by doing the rounds in the folk clubs of London. It's a good album. You can't go wrong with John Martyn. Totally changing track. This is Gong Angel's Egg. This is the Charlie Records reissue in the 80s. So it's got a slightly different cover to the original. It's one customer in the shop. I was looking after the shop for Pete while he was away. Customer didn't. He brought it, and then we got home and realised it was a different cover. He'd already got the original, so he brought it back. But I can't. Again, Gongs and artists that I enjoy listening to. Um, it's what it is. It's not a great pressing now, I have to be honest, but it'll do. It's in the collection. I'm happy with that. It's Public Image Limited, The Flowers of Romance. This came out in 1981. I think this was the last album that featured Keith Levene. I think it was just Lydon, Keith Levene, and Jeanette Lee. That's who she is there. Very experimental. The actual top track became a hit single. I think the name stems from Flowers of Romance. I think there were a few punk bands around that time that used that name. But yeah, it is. It's very, very. Lydon's getting more experimental. It sort of moves on from Tin Box. It's a good album. Sometimes these are difficult to come by, or if you see them and you don't pick them up straight away, they go. So I was happy to have that. I do enjoy listening to Phil. I think Lydon, for all his his gobbiness and all that, he did back it up with the record. I think he tries to push the envelope. Really be innovative. Soft Cell, The Art of Falling Apart. So you've got the cover there. Whereas it's the second album, and I think whereas the Non-Stop Erotic Cabaret is very sleazy album, this album really is more of a kitchen sink drama. And some of the lyrics, you almost feel like you're watching a 60s British kitchen drama film, and that was very popular with some of it. So the sleaze had gone; it was more melodramatic, but it's a great album. I really, I'm not really listened to this for about 40 years. It's great. But the bonus on here is you can get hold of the copy with the bonus 12-inch single. One of the sides is Martin, but the other side, they cover Hendrix, Hey Joe, and Purple Haze. It's absolutely wonderful. It's loud, it's raucous. Really good. This is a really good album. Here's a third album I might need to check out as well. But yeah, I'm glad my family owned my ears up to this one. I've been on a bit of a funk kick recently, partly because Record Collector magazine a few months ago did the 50 best funk albums that came out in 1973. So I put it onto a playlist, and I've been streaming that when I've been working from home. So I've been listening to a lot more funk. So I managed on one band to get hold of 3 albums. Now I've got to be careful I do this. You probably guessed who I've gotten by. It's Ohio Players. So I first picked up Angel, Honey, and Contradiction. Absolutely corking records. That's 70s funk. Again, it's an area of genre music I've allowed to pass me by. But actually, I listened to it, I thought, wow, this is good. This is really enjoyable. It helped me get through work when I was from home, or if I've been listening to it on my commute. So, yeah, really good. I was really pleased with that, to have those in there. Again, changing track slightly. This is John Foxx. This is the Golden Section. I think this might have been his 4th solo album on Virgin. It came out in the early 80s, I think 83. It might have been the last one, actually. I've always enjoyed John Foxx. I've got his previous solo albums, first 3. And I've got the Ultravox, which features John Foxx. And there's an inkling, as much as I love the Vienna album, I do prefer the Ultravox with John Fox in it. It's a bit more edgier, a bit more post-punk. But yeah, great album. My Wild Love, Sitting at the Edge of the World, Ghost on the Water Like a Miracle. Very, again, experimental, but then there's actually some bits of it that are actually quite commercial as well. So, yeah, enjoyed that. Only a couple more to go. This will probably be the Duff Buy of the of July. This is Wild Horses. This is their debut album, which came out in 1980. This is basically Brian Robertson's band after Thin Lizzy. He joined up with Jimmy Bain, ex of Rainbow, to form Wild Horses. The album is produced by Trevor Rabin, and it does also feature Neil Carter, who would leave after this album came out and join UFO. The problem with the album is I don't think the songs are that great, and then the production's absolutely not great either, and then it doesn't really showcase what Robertson's good at, and it's playing the guitar. And yeah, it is very it's a disappointment, because you think this could be really good, and this came out at the time of the new wave of British heavy metal, so they got tagged into that a little bit, but it's so different from, say, like Iron Maiden at that time. Yeah, it's a disappointing album. It could end up being one of these albums that when I do the slight calls in the annual culling, they could end up going with it, which is disappointing, really. They did release another album after Carter left, and they pretty much fell apart after that. Jimmy Bain went and formed Dio, and Brian Robertson joined Motorhead on Another Perfect Day. Yeah, it's disappointing because people's reputation goes before it, which is a shame. And the final, we've got another 2 albums. Can't go wrong with Sparks. Woofer in Tweeter's Clothing. I think this might be the second album. And this is really the last album before they came over to the UK. This talent big enough for the both of us. But you can see the where it was going, particularly the opening track on side 2. This is Do Re Mi. This is very much how you expect Sparks to sound, and it's not a bad record. It shows promise. I think that's the word I would use. But yeah, really good. It's not a bad album. Debut album's difficult to get hold of. I've got to really build up my Sparks collection. That could be like painting the 4th bridge. And then the final album I'm going to show you is this. This is Mighty Baby, debut album, Mighty Baby. This came out 1969. It's one of these records that's considered to be a bit of a lost prog psych rock classic. Originals. Pete's got one in the shop. It's selling for nearly £300. It's rare. Been reissued a few times. I got this through Amazon. But Record Collector did a big feature on this as well, because they've done an issue. It's been reissued a few times. There are a few reissues knocking around. This sounds really good. Peter played one side of the record in the shop, and I said, yeah. I was doing an iron whether to get this, because this is only a limited edition of pressed, I think, 1,000. So I picked it up and just really enjoyed it. I think what's the track that I love the most on here? House Without, it's the opening track on side 2. House Without Windows is the track that makes the album. I think this is again a lost classic. You can get hold of it. When you're into that sort of psych rock, prog. Yeah, I'd get hold of it. It's well worth seeking out. So there you go. That's premium finds. I will, if I can get all the records out, do the cheap finds. But As I say, VC, look at, hope everything is well, as I said earlier. Take care of yourselves. If you like what you see, just leave a comment and I'll get back to you. Eventually, I'll get back to you. Sorry, Martin. Look after yourselves. Keep spinning. More importantly, keep on smiling.